What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of the Triple Threat Show. As always, I'm your host, Marafitemi, back at it on a Tuesday afternoon. I try to get back here on 10 a.m. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just so I apologize for not being here right at 10, but we're here regardless. 12:45 don't matter. 1:45 in the morning, 2:45, 3 p.m. don't matter. Bro, can I Can you not? Can you fucking not? Can you fucking not? Anyways, yeah, no, the NBA is in full fledged. The Lakers fall. They get swept last night by the Oklahoma City Thunder. Is it the end of LeBron James for the NBA? We're gonna get into all the details, talking about DeAndre Ayton, talking about Austin Reeves, talking about Jackson Hayes. Shout out Jackson Hayes with a phenomenal game. He's gonna get either he's gonna get a starting job with the Lakers next year. I think so. He's going to be the future of the Lakers center position, or he's going to find somewhere else to either be a backup or be a center, be a starting center for like the Washington Wizards or the Utah Jazz, somewhere like that. We'll get into everything about that game, Game 4 last night with the Thunder and the Lakers. Timberwolves Spurs, big time Game 5 tonight. Every single game from here on out in that series will be played like a Game 7. Victor Wembanyama makes his first appearance since throwing that elbow to Naz Reid and getting ejected. We're going to get everything. We're going to dive into everything about that. Avs wild with a wild Game 4 last night. Yes, a wild Game 4 last night. Avalanche taking a 3-1 lead. We'll get into everything about that. And the Cavs tie up the series against the Pistons, head back to Detroit, 2-2 series. We'll get into everything about that. NFL talk, MLB. Stay tuned for all that. Drop a follow, drop a like. You can catch all the content, all my content. If you want full recordings of every single show, check out the Triple Threat Show on YouTube. I post every single full recording show. Either I try to right after the show. It's more like midnight. I'm not gonna lie. I apologize. It's the one thing I kind of suck with right now. But drop a like, drop a follow here on TikTok. I post videos every single day. I try to post during the games as well. But let's get right into it. And we're starting right off the top with the Lakers. There's nowhere else to start than with the Lakers. They fall last night. Game 4. They get officially swept by the Oklahoma City Thunder. Everyone knew it was going to happen. I thought maybe there was a world that the Lakers win. I picked the Thunder, but you hoped if it was, especially for LeBron's final game in the NBA, at least in my estimation, everybody was praying that LeBron could at least get one win and not get swept in his final series. But regardless, he gets swept, and the Lakers are headed to Cancun for the next 6 months until October, until we see him again. A lot of work needs to be done with this team. They definitely need a new center. And honestly, before I get into what we want to expect in the offseason, let's just get to last night's game. SGA drops 35 points in a closeout game. SGA hasn't had more than 25 points in this series. He's at 18, 22, and 23. And then he explodes last night in a game 4 closeout game for 35 points. There's nothing else you can expect from a superstar player than something like that. He's just that kind of a player. He shows up in big moments, and he showed up again last night. A.J. Mitchell continues to pour it on. 26 points for A.J. Mitchell last night. I mean, it speaks volumes for itself. The Thunder the Lakers kept it close at the end of the first quarter, but in the second quarter, it's the Thunder that finally went on their run, 13-0 run to blow up this game, and they take a 12-point lead going into the second half. Third quarter, the quarter where the Lakers have been absolutely dominated. Dominated. It's the Thunder being dominant every single time the third quarter rolls around. Game 1, 25-10 run. Game 2, 32-14 run without SGA on the floor. And then Game 3, that 47-29 run through midway through the third quarter all the way through the fourth quarter that iced the game. Last night, for whatever reason, it was the opposite. LeBron James hits a couple big time threes, the logo 3-pointer that pretty much brings the Lakers brings the lead down to single digits. Can I speak? Maybe, but and then it's Jackson Hayes. I mean, I said it at the top of the show. Jackson Hayes will get another opportunity somewhere else in the league. Whether maybe he stays with the Lakers. Maybe the Lakers realize what they have with him, because this is a guy that's been a little bit inconsistent, but when he's actually dialed in, and he has grown all season long, he's been absolutely dialed in, and he's been a presence in the center position for the Lakers. He showed it last night. Put back dunks, being able to block, Chet Holmgren being a presence in the interior. He was anchoring that defense in the second half when they pulled DeAndre Ayton and sat his ass down. DeAndre Ayton will not get maybe he gets another position with like the Wizards. Maybe the Wizards decide to pay him his $50 million a year to run with Anthony Davis and both of them to be made of glass. But at the end of the day, DeAndre Ayton, the way he played last night and the way he's played this entire series, I don't care. He had a couple 16 and 16 games against Alperen Şengün. Alperen Şengün is one of the most overrated players in the NBA. But the way he performed throughout this series and last night, 6 points, 3 rebounds. This man, literally, I'm sitting there watching the game and I'm sitting there talking to my boy on the phone. I don't know, man. DeAndre Ayton's kind of looking like he's just sitting there practicing how to run, and he's showing himself. He's just galloping out there. Literally, if you watch the game, he's just sitting there galloping up and down the court, doing nothing else. I apologize. I'm not trying to compare him to a horse, but he's tall, so it's easy. He has long-ass strides. It's just what it is. He barely moves his feet. He's like this trying to defend. Like, bro, you need to be able to defend it somewhat in the NBA if you're DeAndre Ayton, especially in a closeout game when you're playing up against Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren. The way that the Thunder use those two, you know that you're going to be a focal point on this team, and if those two go off, you're going to get the snub for it. A lot of people are going to be looking at you as a focal point as to how this game goes. JJ Redick realized his mistake in the first half. And Ayton was not performing whatsoever in the first half. It was Jackson Hayes in the second half that was able to bring this Lakers team somewhat within reach. Hayes played 27 minutes last night. He played most of the second half. And it showed him and Rui Hachimura. So the Lakers they go on a 30-14 run to close out the third quarter. They take a lead going into the fourth quarter, somehow, some way, 84-80. And then it's just back and forth the rest of the way. Lebron getting into the lane. Rui Hachimura hitting a step-back 3 and 1 3-pointer. Austin Reeves learning SGA's moves, a little bit of SGA's moves, falling. Dwayne Wade explained it best. He was commentating the game. The second somebody puts that hand in the cookie jar trying to swipe at the ball, SGA does it. Austin Reeves will just go up for the shot to get the continuation to get to the free throw line. Austin Reeves hit a couple big time shots as well. You have to give this Lakers team credit for the way that they adapted to what the Thunder were throwing at them. Sometimes using the Thunder's poison against them. Will teams use it in the Western Conference Finals? Absolutely. Whoever faces this Thunder team in the Western Conference Finals will learn from what the Lakers did. Playing them physically, trying to slow down the game, learning a little bit from what they like to do, using some of their flopping tactics against them. It happened. This is what you have to do in the playoffs. You fight fire with fire. You win in any way, at any cost. This is what it is in the NBA. And we'll get to it with the Spurs and the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves are doing it to Wemby every single game. And it's what ticked Wemby off to throw that elbow. We'll get there in a second. But with what the Lakers did last night, they tried everything, every way. They did everything they could to win that game. Now, there were a couple key possessions that I want to highlight. 3 in particular. 1, LeBron James with 3 minutes to play. I think the Lakers were down by 1 point. SGA had just gone down the floor and hit a step-back jumper. What does he do? He just tries to satellite telegraph a bounce pass. It gets picked off by Isaiah Hartenstein. SGA goes down the other way. Or actually, I think Chet Holmgren goes the other way and just dunks it over LeBron. This is the little things that turn the game around, especially with 3 minutes to play. It goes from a 1-point game to a 3-point game. That's 1. Number 2. There was 3. Well, I remember. Well, let's go to the second one. I can't remember I lost my train of thought for the third one. But the second one, and this is a bigger one. How does JJ Redick not put Rui Hachimura on the floor in that final 3-point possession? It is a 3-point game with like 30 seconds left. And you put Maxi Kleber, who hasn't touched the floor, for 1 possession instead of Rui Hachimura? Rui shot 4 of 8 last night from 3. He literally had just hit that step back 3. That and 1-3 that had brought you guys within 3 points. He was the catalyst of all of it. He was your second leading scorer. 25 points for Rui last night. He was a big reason, no turnovers. One of the biggest reasons why the Lakers were as close as they were because of what Rui did last night. And you don't put him on the floor in the biggest moment of the game. You put Maxi Kleber in instead. I don't mind Luke Kennard being in that spot. What I would have done if I were the Lakers, if I was coaching that team, I would have put LeBron in. LeBron, Rui, in no order. LeBron, Rui, Austin Reeves, Jackson Hayes, and then if you threw Kennard in there, I'd be fine with it. Kennard, Rui, Reeves, LeBron, and Jackson Hayes. And I would only put Jackson Hayes in there just to be an offensive board guy, to be able, if whoever missed, Hayes would be there to get the offensive board, even if it was just a board or if it was just a putback tip in, which he had done time after time in the fourth quarter last night. Jackson Hayes was a big part of what they did last night. And I do think J.J. Redick missed and kind of fumbled that opportunity a little bit. I do think those guys should have been on the floor. They should have absolutely been on the floor. But I digress. It is what it is. You can't really do anything about it now. There was one other play. I just literally cannot remember what it was. Oh, I remember what it was now. LeBron, it is a 1-point game with 50 seconds left. LeBron just hits and misses an easy rudder. I mean, this is a floater that LeBron has hit time and time throughout his career. And this is what's going to get us right into our next conversation. But LeBron should have absolutely hit that shot. And if he did, the Lakers would have gone up by 1. It would have been a 1-point game with 30 seconds to left. Things could have absolutely changed. And if LeBron didn't turn over that ball, it could have been a 1-point game with 30 seconds left in the game. These are the little things, the little details that the Thunder capitalize on, and it's what wins them games. It's what wins them series, and it's why they are as good as what they are. It's why you cannot make mistakes against Mark Daigneault and SGA in the way that this Thunder team plays. It's the little things that gets them as far as they get to, and it's not just about their foul baiting. It's their rebounding, it's their timely shots, it's putting the ball in SGA's hands, especially in closeout moments, especially when the game gets tight, for him to hit his fall-away jumper, for him to get to the lane, to get to the hole and to get an easy layup. He is one of the best in the league at what he does. He is the best pure shooter in the league right now, and it's why the Thunder are as good as what they are, as good as they are. AJ Mitchell, him, the double big with Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein, the whole thing. It's the little things. And you have to be nearly perfect to beat this Oklahoma City Thunder team. They're now 8-0 in the playoffs, sweeping the Suns, sweeping the Lakers, getting to the Western Conference Finals. And I don't know. I don't see anybody beating this team in the Western Conference Finals personally. But let's get to our next conversation, and that has to be what happens next. And I'm not talking about the Thunder, because the Thunder have a long season left in them. They are going to get past the Western Conference Finals. They are going to get to the NBA Finals and get through the NBA Finals. They will be the NBA champs this year. I'm sorry for anybody that's a Knicks fan, for anybody that's a Spurs fan or a Timberwolves fan. I don't want to hear it. The Thunder are that good. They have been that good this entire year, and they are that good. But what's next for the LeBron James and this Lakers team? For LeBron, I said it all series long. I've said it all year long. This is LeBron's final year in the NBA. He said it last night as well. I know there's some clips going on out there that are out of context, but he is just ready to be in father time. He's proved it. He's explained in the regular season how he had to cut out his love for red wine and cookies. Yes, I know an athlete's not supposed to eat these things, but he's getting older. His age is showing. His interests are changing. When he was 35 rolling with the Cavs, do you think he would even discuss his love for red wine and cookies? No. That stuff would be, all right, it's regular season basketball. It's time to get in shape. It's time to get ready. Time to put that stuff to the side. To even discuss these things in the playoffs shows what's on his mind, shows his priorities and where he's at. His age showed last night. I told you he should have hit that running layup that could have made it a 1-point lead. That should have made it a 1-point game for the Lakers. That ill-advised turnover with 3 minutes to play in the fourth quarter in a tight game. LeBron doesn't make mistakes like that ever. He's notorious for being one of the most decisive and experienced players on the floor, especially in the playoffs. He's the guy that doesn't make those mistakes. Yet last night was different. You can say that LeBron's in a position where he has to be the number one option on this team. He has to carry this team. And I understand. I completely understand where you come from when you say that. Because without Luka on the floor, he is. Reeves isn't the number one option on this team. He might be the number one primary scorer, and he might be the point guard, but he's not the number one. He is not the focal point. He's not the leader of this team. When Luka's on the floor, Reeves takes an uptick over LeBron, and LeBron's able to take those steps back and relax. But without Luka, it's different. And that's why LeBron can't be the primary option on a basketball team anymore. Not a team that wants to contend for a championship. He's just too old. He's too old. And especially if you don't give him a team to run with. This Lakers team is pathetic. They had no perimeter defense. They couldn't hit timely shots when it mattered. They got outscored. I mean, they didn't have the scores to match up with what the Thunder had. They couldn't keep up with them offensively, and it showed late in this game. It showed that you had to rely on Austin Reeves shooting 3 of 7 and clanking a three-pointer from like 30 feet away with 12 seconds left. It showed that you had to rely on Rui Hachimura hitting a step-back 3 to even be in the conversation, to be still hanging around in this game. And this is just one of the 4 games when in the other 3 games in the second half, you'd been absolutely demoralized and pelted in the third and fourth quarters. Dominated in the third and fourth quarters. This is the Lakers team that we're talking about right now. No center play, no center play, no point guard. You're rolling with Austin Reeves, who's a shooting guard, to be your point guard. Marcus Smart was abysmal last night. 5 points and 6 turnovers in 36 minutes. And yes, I know what he brings defensively, and he was good guarding SGA, picking up SGA full court. Good. This is what he does. He's a professional pest, and he is what he is. But he is not a point guard. Jared Vanderbilt, get him off the team. He broke his pinky finger in game 1, and that was bad, and it kind of turned his series around, but he hasn't been good all year long. I think you move off of him. Outside of maybe Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic, I think everybody else on this team has to be movable. They have to be. Even though Rui Hachimura was so good in this game last night, no turnovers, 25 points, 5 rebounds, he was great. He showed up and did what he could in a big game. And he'll get another contract somewhere else. Make no mistake about it. He's in the prime of his career, and he is getting better as he gets year in and year out. Rui Hachimura has gotten so much better throughout this series and throughout this playoffs. He's been getting better, and he will continue to get better. But what Rui Hachimura what the rest of the team brings to the table with DeAndre Ayton, Marcus Smart, Jared Vanderbilt, Maxi Kleber, these guys don't need to be on this Lakers team. And I know nobody else wants them, but you need to be able to get other guys. You need to be able to draft better. You need to be able... Yes, and I know you went out there and tried to get Bronny James, and it ruined your draft stock. I get it. But outside of Jackson Hayes, who else have you really drafted? I don't even think... No, they didn't even draft Jackson Hayes. The Pelicans drafted Jackson Hayes. Who have you drafted in the last few years that has actually worked out for you? Look at what the Thunder have done. Look at what the Pistons have done. Look at what the Hornets have done. The Magic. These teams that have actually gone out there and developed players. The Celtics, you can even bring up... Imagine if Baylor Shireman was on this Lakers team, or Luka Garza, or Ron Harper Jr., or I'm blanking on the rookie's name. I can picture his face, but I can't remember his name. I'll remember it in a second. The rookie that the Celtics literally just drafted, the two-way player from Turkey, or Spain, actually. Yeah, it was Spain. That guy that they got. The Lakers haven't been able to develop anybody. And that has to go, that shows what Rob Pelinka is doing. Rob Pelinka needs to be out of there. If Rob Pelinka has a job with the Lakers in the offseason, it's a failed offseason. If Rob Pelinka by today or by the end of this week is not out of a job, there is a mistake. There was something going on in LA that makes no sense. And I don't want to hear about Luka. I really don't want it. I don't care. That is the only thing he's done in the last 3 years. He's not been able to create a good roster. He's not been able to bring in talent at the trade deadline when they need it. He's not been able to draft well. He's not been able to sign players to good contracts. He's done nothing outside of trading for Luka. And even then, that came out of left field, nowhere. And honestly, I blame Nico Harrison for that idea more than I give credit to Rob Pelinka. Rob Pelinka's done nothing for this team, and that's why I say he needs to be gone. He's done nothing addressing the perimeter defense. He's not done nothing addressing the center position. He's done nothing addressing the lack of scoring and shooting on this team. I don't care about Luke Kennard. Congratulations, you bring in Luke Kennard, and he did good at the beginning of the Rocket series. He's done nothing in this series. He's done nothing in this series, flat out. So that's all I got about the Lakers, and I apologize for going on a 20-minute rant about the Lakers, but you got to start where you got to start. It's the money story. The Lakers getting swept. LeBron's final game. It's what you got to start with. But let's get to the next game. There were two games that I was paying attention to, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm not one of those guys that's got like 6 screens, 6 different games going on at the same time. No. I apologize to the Cavs and the Pistons. I apologize to Donovan Mitchell. But I wasn't paying attention to you guys last night. Maybe the basketball world was. But there was a better game going on last night. And it wasn't a basketball game. The Colorado Avalanche and the Minnesota Wild series is the best series. And it goes toe-to-toe with any series in both playoffs that we've seen so far. The Minnesota Wild are Stanley Cup contenders. Call it what it is. I haven't called them that, and I apologize for not giving them the credit that they deserve. That defense is absolutely legit. The Minnesota Wild's defense and ability to stump the Colorado Avalanche offense at any turn, every single turn. The Wild didn't put up a single shot on goal in 17 minutes last night. 17 minutes from midway through the first period when they scored that opening goal when they went up 1-0 to like the 10-minute mark in the second period. They didn't have a single shot on goal. 0. It was 20-4 on shots in favor of the Colorado Avalanche. And it was a 1-0 game. The Avalanche eventually scored. It took 2 power plays, but they eventually scored on Wallstead and opened up the game. But even then, that's when you discuss last night's game between the Avalanche and Wild, let me break it down. 1-0 midway through the first period, the Wild score on a power play goal, take a 1-0 lead on the Avalanche. Avalanche absolutely wake up in an instant. Remember game 3 against the LA, or game 2 against the Kings when they woke up when the Kings scored that goal midway through the third period and they scored a goal in the next minute and a half? They woke up in the exact same way. This team absolutely dominated them for the next 20 minutes, and it took the Avalanche eventually scoring a goal, but the Wild eventually woke up. Midway through the second period, they finally were able to get some offense going with Marcus Johansson, with Matt Boldy and Nick Foligno in that team. They finally get some offense going and score a goal. It was 1-1 going into the second period intermission, but going into the third, they finally scored that 2-1 goal, or scored that second goal to break open the game. The third period of this game was wide open, and I wanted to do a video on it and throw it on TikTok, but I couldn't. Reasons for that has nothing to do with TikTok, but you guys saw my video last night. Just connect the dots, please. This game last night was just unbelievable. Even the third period, like I said, back and forth. The Avalanche offense was just too much, and Wallstead needs to get some. He needs to be looked at as a reason why the Wild might not win this series. Jesper Wallstead. Yes, he did whatever he could. Yes, he saved 29 shots, but I mean, when you needed him most in the third period, he crumbled. He absolutely crumbled. Nazem Kadri with that insane power play goal to get that first goal. Nathan MacKinnon scores, and we have to get to him a little bit later. He literally took a puck to the nose, and I don't know if he got any concussion symptoms. He eventually came back into the game in the third period. But Nathan MacKinnon, absolute dog, one of the best leaders in the NHL, flat out. And when you needed him most, he shows up and scores. I think he scored the second goal. He might have been he scored the second goal. He scored the second goal because Parker Kelly hit that outside shot in the third period that opened up the game. That's when they opened up a 3-2 game, and then the 2 open netters. Whatever happened with Brock Nelson. These two teams just going back and forth. The Wild's defense against the Avalanche offense. It's just back and forth between these two teams. And the Colorado Avalanche now take a 3-1 series lead. I don't think the Wild are able to come back in this. Maybe they are able to win Game 5. Maybe. Am I picking them? Hell no. I think the Avalanche close this series in 5 games now. If the Wild had tied this series up at 2 games apiece going back to Colorado, I think it would have put a lot of pressure on Colorado and changed the entire standpoint of this series. 3-1 series with the best team in the NHL, with the best offense in the NHL by far. It's different. It's just different going back to their home turf. They're going to be looking to close out this series. They have closers everywhere you look. They have Stanley Cup champions everywhere you look. This Colorado Avalanche team is just too good. So I'm rolling with them to close out this series. But this Minnesota Wild team, their defense needs to be highlighted in the way that they played. Like I said, Matt Boldy with Michael McCarron and Jared Spurgeon, this Vladimir Tarasenko, this entire team, everywhere you look, showed up last night and tried everything they could defensively to keep them in it and give their offense a chance. The third period, they go back and forth with Quinn Hughes and the rest of the team going back and forth trying to put a puck in the back of the net. They tried. They absolutely tried. But the Avalanche are just too good. The Avalanche are too good. Cale Makar is a defensive player of the year. He's an MVP candidate for the defense that he plays. He's one of the best defensemen in the league. It is what it is. And the team is absolutely loaded from head to toe. So, there's a reason why I have the Colorado Avalanche winning the Stanley Cup, and they're going to win this series in 5 games. Unbelievable Game 4 last night. Let's get over to the Cavs and Pistons right now, but that game deserved to be highlighted for the way that they played. This is what I did. Before I ended up making the decision, I had the Cavs, Pistons, and the Avalanche Wild game. I couldn't make a decision which game to go with. I just didn't. I couldn't make that call. And then eventually I ended up making the call. Just watching both games, I'm like, bro, this Avalanche Wild game is just insane. Both teams just playing stellar. One team's playing lockdown, clamps defense, while the other team is playing all-out offense. It's just a battle of both teams. While the other game, let's get over there right now with the Cavs and the Pistons. The Cavs and the Pistons is a good series. It's not a great one. It's not horrible, though. It's not. The Pistons are a young team, and they're showing their youth right now against the Cavs. The Cavs showed up. The Pistons came to Cleveland and got sunned. It is what it was. Donovan Mitchell goes for 43 points. James Harden goes for 24, 11 points in the first quarter. He lights it up to start the game. But it's not just him. It's Max Strus. It's the defense, honestly, that you need to credit in this game for the Cleveland Cavaliers. The turnovers that the Pistons committed left and right. Just listen to these stats real quick. Pistons turnovers. Asser Thompson, 4 turnovers. Jalen Duren, 4 turnovers. Cade Cunningham with 5 turnovers. He had 8 turnovers in Game 2. This is Cade Cunningham that we're talking about. MVP candidate Cade Cunningham. And I've said it all series long that it is the primary players in these playoffs. You can't make this up. There's a damn weed whacker next to my window. But it's the primary players that are getting locked up. SGA, 8 turnovers in Game 1. It happens. Here, Cade Cunningham. You've seen Paulo Banchero getting locked down. You've seen Kevin Durant with 9 turnovers with the Houston Rockets. I'm just remembering things off the top of my head. Please just, if there's other ones that you guys have seen, just throw it in the chat. But this is a Lakers team, this is a Cavs team that has that kind of experience with their defensemen, that they can actually go out there and lock the best player on the floor for the opposing team. On the other side for the Cavs, I mean, just listen to these stats. 3 steals for Evan Mobley. 3 steals for James Harden. 2 steals for Max Strus. And he had a couple big-time steals early in this one. 5 blocks for Evan Mobley. We have been waiting for the Evan Mobley game. We have been waiting for Evan Mobley to answer the call because I've said it time and time again. Jalen Duren is the reason why the Pistons have won the first 2 games of this series, because of the way that he played, because of the way he was able to control Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. Evan Mobley went for 17 points last night. He had 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks, and 5 blocks. 5 assists, 3 steals, and 5 blocks. I don't know. I don't have a stat sheet in front of me. I don't have a record book in front of me, but that's probably a record. He probably went down in history for a player to go down with 15, 5, and 5. 15 points, 5 assists, 5 blocks. There's probably a stat for that. He was quintessential for this game. He should have won MVP for this game. Dean Wade and his defense, his ability to be a playmaker and not showing up on the stat sheet, a plus 20 on the floor for Dean Wade. He was an absolute stud. And then I didn't even, and like I said, to start off this this topic, Donovan Mitchell 43 points and James Harden with 24. These two guys, when they play at that kind of level to shoot at that kind of a clip, they're borderline unbeatable. And they are. James Harden, for whatever reason, lighting it up from 3-point range. Shot 5 shots, went 5 of 9 from 3. The only field goals that he hit in this game shot 5 of 14. He shot what? Quick maths. He shot 0 of 4 from inside the arc. He shot 0 of 8 outside of those 5 3-pointers that he hit from the field. This is what James Harden is. 11 assists for the kid. When James Harden and Donovan Mitchell are able to play at the level and the way that they played last night, this Cavs team can come back and beat the Pistons. They can. They can go out there and do it. I apologize, Nolan Jambor. I know you're a big-time Pistons fan. But this Cavs team that showed up last night can go out there and beat the Pistons. The Pistons, you can say that they shot bad. You can say that they didn't have their great. They shot 50% from the field. They shot 43% from 3-point range. The Cavs shot 34% from 3-point range, and they won. They won. So there is one more wrinkle of this that I want to get to that needs to be discussed. But before I get there, this is a Pistons team that needs to get their act together. This is a Cavs team that is going to bring it to them in Game 5 when they get back to Detroit. This is a Detroit team that needs to look themselves in the mirror and take a step back and get back to their identity. Playing good defense, shutting down those two guys and James Harden and Donovan Mitchell, and being able to play to be able to convert offensively. 19 points for Cade Cunningham isn't going to get it done. 16 points for Tobias Harris. The number one scorer on this team was Caris LeVert. And I like Caris LeVert. He was a good acquisition at the trade deadline. That's why I thought this Pistons team had something to play for in come playoff time. This is why the Pistons team, this is a Pistons team that people have in the NBA Finals conversation. But this is a Pistons team that needs to figure it out offensively. They have what it takes. They have the guys around Cade Cunningham to get it done with Duncan Robinson, with Tobias Harris, with Jalen Duren, and like I said, Caris LeVert, Dennis Jenkins. These guys know how to put the ball in the hole when they do it. But they need to do it at a higher clip. Paul Reed can't be relied upon to score 15 points a game. He just can't. Can't. So this is a Pistons team that's going to need to look themselves in the mirror and figure it out offensively. They need to just sit there and practice their shots all practice long until Game 5. If I was the coach, if I was JB Bickerstaff, that is all I would be having this team do, because they have what it takes defensively, but they need to figure out, they need to complement it with their offense. The only reason this game stayed close is because of how good they played defensively. 2 steals Tobias Harris, 2 steals Jalen Duren, collectively like 8+ steals. I'm not counting it. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 steals collectively. This is what the Pistons can do, and they are that good defensively. But when their offense can't complement it, it becomes a shit show. Now let's get to the other wrinkle of this that I wanted to get to. How in the actual world, because I'm not going to say, this is a PG-13. We're keeping a PG show. We're keeping a PG. How in the actual freak did the Pistons shoot 12 free throws in this game collectively as a team, while Donovan Mitchell shot 15? 15 free throws for Donovan Mitchell in this game. He made 13. He made more free throws individually than the Pistons shot as a team. That was incredible. And it's a stat that a lot of people are talking about, that the refs wanted the Cavs to win. They wanted to even this series up at 2 games apiece going back to Detroit. I get it. I'll listen to all of it. But I think that is a wrinkle that needs to be discussed, and I think this is a guy, Donovan Mitchell, that gets those kind of calls, similar to SGA, similar to Jamal Murray, Luka Doncic. He's in that group that he will get those kinds of whistles. For whatever reason, he plays with that kind of a tempo, with that kind of a pace, that it is just like athletic, it is ferocious. He knifes to the lane. Anybody that smacks him on the wrist, it is just like automatically a foul. And I get it, it's tough to get out of the way. But Donovan Mitchell, at some point or another, you need to look at him and say, you need to call it both ways. You need to call it both ways. And a lot of people are going to highlight that. about this game 4. But the Pistons need to clean it up offensively. You cannot just use that as an excuse. You need to look at themselves. You need to look in the mirror and be able to score the ball at a higher clip. Cade Cunningham, it starts with Cade. He might need to go off for 40 for them to win game 5. And I expect them to do so. This series is now going to go 7 games. I expect the Pistons to win game 5, the Cavs to win game 6, and then it is an absolute giant question mark as to what happens in game 7. We'll see what happens, but this would be another long series for both of these teams. Both teams now had 7-game series in the first round, looking at another 7-game series in the second round while the Knicks are sitting there looking pretty after sweeping the Philadelphia 76ers. But let's switch over to the rest of the NHL. That's pause. Hell no. Let's stay in the NBA here real quick because we have another game 5 tonight. Game 5, Spurs and Minnesota Timberwolves. These two teams absolutely despise each other. Victor Wembanyama does not get fined, does not get suspended for his elbow that he threw at Naz Reid. Questionable. I thought he should have gotten at least fined. Some people thought he should have gotten it suspended. I could hear that argument. And the reason I can hear that argument is because how in the world can you expect the refs to be able to deal with the aggression that Victor Wembanyama is going to bring to the floor tonight? For the level of competitiveness and physicality that the second that Victor Wembanyama gets clobbered, as JJ Redick likes to call it, just the second that he has to deal with the physicality that the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to throw at him, he's going to snap. He's going to snap. The reason why he snapped in game 4 is because of the way that Gobert and Julius Randle and Naz Reid are just sitting there and throwing a body at him every single time. They're not letting him just sit there and do this. Let me get the rebound and outlet. Let me get the rebound and go back out for another opportunity and a second chance opportunity. They're sitting there pushing him. They're sitting there making him fight for every single rebound. Fight and claw for every single rebound. And they won in game 1. That is the reason why it stayed so close in game 1 for the way that Julius Randle played. It also is the reason why the Spurs won game 3. It's because of the way that Victor Wembanyama was able to shoot the ball and open up the game, turn it into a shootout versus a slugfest. The Minnesota Timberwolves are begging for every single game in this series to become a slugfest. They're begging for the Spurs to have a bad shooting night and force them to try and beat them effort-wise because they know the Timberwolves can beat the Spurs effort-wise or at least match up with them. At least. At the very least. The Spurs have adapted and are able to do that. They did it in game 4. They did it in game 3 as well. Or game 2. They out-hustled and out-efforted the Spurs in game 2 and game 4. Now, the Timberwolves ended up winning game 4. But as long as this doesn't become... This is going to become a tough game to manage if you're the refs. The refs are going to have their hands full dealing with the personalities that both of these teams have. There is a guy by the name of Jaden McDaniels on the Minnesota Timberwolves. He doesn't take shit lightly. This is a Timberwolves team that we've already seen. I highlighted it in the video I posted last night. Check out my video about Victor Wembanyama. There was a fight between the Pistons and the Timberwolves where it was the exact same situation. Both teams with high competitive spirits, both teams going at one another, trying to punk one another, trying to out physical, trying to play big boy basketball. This is what the Spurs are going to do. This is what this game is going to be tonight. It's going to be a repeat of that, and if there is any sort of altercation early on, tempers could fly, and you're looking at another scrum with ejections, with technical fouls, with fines, with possible suspensions. Especially if Victor Wembanyama loses his cool again, I expect him to have a better handle of it. And I'm looking at the coach to be able to sit him down and be like, "Hey, man, you got to stay cool. You're the star player of this team. We need you. We need you if you're gonna win. If we want to win this series. If I'm head coach of the Spurs, I can't remember his name. I just know that's what Greg Popovich would do. That's why a lot of people are saying if Greg Popovich was still the head coach of the San Antonio Spurs, some of the stuff that we saw in Game 4 wouldn't have happened. He would have sat Wemby down and would have been like, bro, you can't do that. We need you on this team. You would have benched his ass the second that happened. The second any of his tempers started flying. It's just what Pop would do. Now, Greg Popovich is old. He can't do it anymore. I get it. And I hope he stays healthy to at least see the Spurs win another title. Do I think they're going to win another title with Wemby? Absolutely. But I do think he needs to mature and understand that teams are game planning every single time to put a body on Victor Wembanyama and force him to fight for every single rebound, for him to lose his cool, for him to throw another elbow, for him to just like get sloppy and draw offensive fouls. That is what every team is trying to do against Victor Wembanyama. To just get him out of his flow by just playing pesky defense and pesky offense. It's just what it is. It is what it is in the NBA. So I expect it to be tough. I'm picking the Minnesota Timberwolves tonight because I picked the Timberwolves to win this series in 7 games. I'm riding with them until they prove me wrong. Do I think they're going to prove me wrong? Hell yes, because the Spurs are that good. But that's all I got for you guys in that one. I'm rolling with the Timberwolves to win tonight in San Antonio and send this series back to Minnesota 3-2. The Spurs win game 6 and then the Timberwolves ultimately win game 7. Crazy sequence, but that's just how I have this series going. So we've gone through all 4 of the NBA games. We've gone through 4 topics now, 4 different games. Let's get to the NHL slate today because I kind of like to rapid fire these. Canadians and Sabres. Oh boy, the Sabres get to go back to Montreal for another game. We already saw what the Canadians did the last time the Sabres showed up. Sabres get into the playoffs for the first time in 15 years. Yay! You won your first series against the Bruins for the first time. Yay! Congratulations. Now you got the Habs to deal with. And this is a fan base that you don't want to play. This is not a place that you want to play with. The Montreal Canadiens in terms of hockey are the New York Knicks of the NHL. They're the Dallas Cowboys of the NHL. They have a fan base that show up and get loud, and they are a fan base that will go after the opposing team. That is flat out what it is. They will get loud, they will go after them, they will try and get in the other team's head. And it showed up in game 3. The Sabres didn't know where they were, showed up like a shell of themselves, and got punked in the second period. The Canadians put up 3 goals in the second period, and it just opened up the game wide open. So I think the Canadians are going to do the same thing. The Sabres are going to need to show up and strike first. If they don't get the opening goal of this game, the Canadians are just going to blow it up wide open once again. I expect them to win tonight and take a 3-1 series lead. But the Sabres, if they want any chance, they need to score the opening goal and just pray and hold on for dear life. Because the Canadians are going to give them the ride of their lives. Pre-pause. But it's just what the Canadians are. Playing in that environment is just different. If you don't have the experience to go in there, if you don't have the understanding of what it's like to go into that environment and win a playoff game, you have no chance. The Sabres just got a taste of that in Game 3. They got to deal with the rest of it in Game 4. I think the Canadians win Game 4, and then ultimately it becomes how long the Sabres can cling on to life for this series. I had the Canadians winning this series because of that reason. Because of their experience. Yes, they're a young team. Because of what that crowd behind them can propel them to get to where they want to get to. Buffalo, it's not tough. We've already seen Boston go into Buffalo and win multiple playoff games. We've seen the Canadians go into Buffalo and win a playoff game. Now it's ultimately if Buffalo can go into Montreal and win a playoff game. That's what it comes down to. Game 4 of that series tonight. Game 5 between the Ducks and Vegas Golden Knights tonight as well. The Ducks tie up this series after Vegas punked them in Game 3. They show back up in Game 4, punked them, winning 4-3, winning an absolute barn burner of a game. Both teams going at one another in Game 4, and it's now up to Game 5. Can the Ducks just hold on? Can they show up offensively and take control of this series? We've still been waiting for the Ducks to show up. I think actually, did they show up in Game 2? There was one game. They still haven't had that 4-goal game where they can just open up the game. They did it against the Edmonton Oilers with 3 games over 4 goals. They've been waiting to do it against Vegas. I think tonight's the night where they do it against the Vegas Golden Knights. They show up and just open up the game, open up the series, going back to Anaheim, taking a 3-2 series lead. Anaheim's just that good. They have that many goal scorers. Vegas has the experience, but Anaheim has the goal scorers. Vegas has a lot of old bodies over there with Mark Stone, with Brandon Roy, with Jack Eichel, with Mitch Marner. They have some goal scorers, but they have a lot of old bodies. If Anaheim can push the pace the way that the Colorado Avalanche like to do against the way that they did against the Minnesota Wild, this game can become wide open really quick. That is how good they are offensively. And I think offense wins games here in the NHL. In these playoffs, I'm rolling with the Anaheim Ducks to just outpace and outplay the Vegas Golden Knights tonight. Take a 3-2 series lead. Other than that, let's touch on the NFL real quick. I made a list. I made a list today because there's a lot to talk about. And also, I got to talk quick because my laptop loves to die. What else is new? Rob's laptop loves to die. Breece Hall gets an extension. 3 years, $45 million deal with a $15 million bonus. Big time extension. The Jets finally sign a player, another weapon for this team, alongside their new. Actually, they drafted a DN. What am I saying? I thought they drafted a wide receiver, but to pair up with him and to roll with a young team that's going on, it's a good start for the Jets. It's a good start for their offense to sign a dynamic running back like Breece Hall is. He's gonna be a great player for this team. He wanted to be off this team in the regular season, begging for the Jets to either pay him or trade him. They finally end up paying him. It is what it is. This is what the NFL is. It's a business. So Breece Hall gets his payday. He has to just run in the slums of the New York Jets organization. Hopefully they can get a team going at some point. Hopefully. Will they? Probably not, because the Jets suck. But other than that, a couple primetime games getting announced. The Bills open up their home stadium in week 2. Their new Highmark Stadium. They get to play in their home stadium for their first time, and they host the Detroit Lions. Phenomenal matchup, phenomenal game. Jared Goff showing up in Buffalo. I expect the Buffalo Bills to blow them out in that game, but it's March. It's May. What are we talking about football for? Just some primetime games that got announced. There's another one that got announced. I just didn't write it down. Of course I didn't write it down, and I forgot what it was. What else is damn new? But the NFL finally showing up in full-fledged. We get the full schedule breakdown. I might do a full NFL show on Tuesday or on Thursday, just breaking down the NFL. It won't be at 10 a.m. because I do work, but it might be closer to 8:30. I might show up early and do a show like that. But that's all I really got for you guys. Red Sox play today. They show up against the Philadelphia Phillies, I believe, today. Yep, 6:45. That series starts against the Philadelphia Phillies. They welcome Kyle Schwarber back at Fenway, the guy that showed up in Fenway back in 2022. We miss Kyle Schwarber so much, but he shows back up in Fenway. He's going to probably hit a couple bombs, hit a couple home runs. We'll see how it all plays out. But the Red Sox with a big-time series once again. They're on a little bit of a heater right now, but we'll see if they can keep it going. They're like 5-2 in their last 7. We'll see if they can keep it going, continue with their hot streak. But outside of that, that's all I really got for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Catch another episode of the Triple Threat Show. You can catch full recordings of these shows on YouTube at the Triple Threat Show. And I like to go live every single day, especially with these playoffs. I'm trying to get consistent. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.